crashing down and it hurts inside. You gotta take a stand, you don't have to hide. Well, you hurt my friends and you hurt my pride. I gotta be a man, I can't let it slide. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. Freedom!
Welcome. Made it today. I didn't think I was going to make it. It wasn't looking good. All of a sudden, it changed my load twice on me. So what I'm thinking, what a guy's got to do at this point is just stick to the schedule and just cancel at the last moment if I can't make it, because it seems like there's like maybe some divine intervention, maybe, because I'm here. It's fucking Wednesday. And we're on schedule, and I got a fucking green room full of people that want to fucking chat. This is awesome. We're back. I don't know how to do this, so I'm pretty much, not gonna lie, I'm making this shit up as I go. You know. But we brought Kelly and Wolfe in today, so I think we're gonna just bring everyone in at once. I'll play a video. Mr. Captain Kirk's in the house tonight, and we're gonna do the, you know, what we normally do with the videos. I just play random videos and we do blind reactions to it, and at the same time, you know, argue, try to leave us friends, but it's not necessary. Here's a video, and here is the crew.
As you can also see, Canada is a place of free expression, where individuals and communities are free to express themselves openly and strongly. We thank them for sharing their perspectives. Merci beaucoup. Merci d'être ici. Being a democracy doesn't mean we all agree. It means we all work together, we all listen to each other, we all respect each other, and that's how we move forward on doing the most important thing in front of us, which is protecting nature.
Welcome, everybody.
All the oxen free.
Hey, Kirk.
Hey, Kirk.
Hey, Kelly.
Hi, big brother. How are you doing?
Doing well, and you?
Good.
Well, Titus, he's up here.
And then we'll design your campaign.
Say that again. Sorry, I got to turn this up.
I said I'm going to get some sleep, and then we can design a winning campaign.
Okay, let's
I'm
hear
trying
all
to get
about it.
everybody to run as independents. I think everybody needs to on every level of government.
See, okay, we'll start there. Because, like, here's I'm not a fan of political parties right now, but I see what you're doing. I've been watching it, and you're at the tip of the spear. You really are. And if there was any kind of an idea of a party, that would be it. Where do you stand? And one question I'd have right off the bat is, where do you stand on Selgovae's flag question about it and being in the courtroom? And would you put it as a part of your party's platform?
Well, number one, I want to make something very, very, very significant. Like, I want to explain something. It's not a party. So we are advocating to
Well, I get it. But when you have a bunch of independents kind of running under the same political ideals, that's a party. And honestly, you would.
That's the difference, though, is it's not the same political ideals. And that's the best part about independence.
You get a lot of benefits by going under parties. But I agree. And I like not having. Canada was started without political parties. It was against it. So having independence is the way to go. I agree. But
I think that the law should be enforced, full stop. And that includes the flags in the courtroom.
But I see on your website, like, you got some big names supporting you. You got Jeremy McKenzie.
Well, no, McKenzie's not in support. I wouldn't say in support of what we're doing.
On your website, you have like him and a few others. Like,
put your show up there too. So
I'm not on your website.
What's that?
I'm not on the website. No.
No, if you want to be.
Oh, if I wanted to. Jeremy said he was okay with that. He wanted to be a part of it.
No, I'm it's okay with his platform being split anywhere.
What's this vetting process like? I don't know. Okay. I shouldn't be the one asking all these questions. Do you know how this works? You're in the lion's den. You're in the fucking man's den now.
Woo-hoo.
Okay. And it's vicious in here. We get mean. We say mean things sometimes, and we get loud.
Bring it on.
Selgovae gets angry. Okay, he says mean things too. I'm just gonna play a video and you just jump in and start talking.
Kelly and I have hit falsetto in the past.
Oh. Dave's my brother, man. He's my brother. He's my hero. He's one of my biggest heroes. And he's actually saved my life a couple times too. And my son's. So he's an important person to me. So, you really want to know who cares about you. You got to fight with them. It's the truth.
So we do it. Here we go.
Air Canada flyers can now rebook flights for free ahead of a possible pilot strike. On Tuesday, Air Canada announced that the Airline Pilots Association has voted in favor of a strike that may affect any flights in September. Now you can rebook to any other Air Canada flight with the same origin and destination up to November 30th, cancel your flight and retain the value for a future travel credit, or cancel and rebook for after November 30th without any change fees.
So here we go again, right?
What I'm noticing is a parallel between what happened to the UK. All of a sudden, all the unions are going on strike, and now they're basically a civil war.
Get ready for lockdowns, folks. How many of you? Are ready for the monkeypox?
You think they're really going to push it? They're like hesitating. Yeah, it's going to be lockdown.
Oh yeah, I've got the plan.
Then on that, with that considered in the foreground of our terrain, and realizing that if we're going to go through another round of having enforcement that's under act and statute tried to be coerced upon us, and realizing that our courts are actually tolerating it and not setting any kind of major conditions right now to prevent that, if you see that in the future, I'm going to suggest that policy on communications and federal identity is what the imminent issue is in order to have that lawfare checked. Again, we're in a mind, and we need to take a step back to a position of standing from which to have understanding of the ground underneath our feet. We don't have that right now. And it feels to me that a lot of these people in the movement that are pushing forward aggressively, they seem to know where they're going, but nobody behind them really truly does, beyond a veneer of a Canadian flag that seems relevant in the moment in front of them, but not in the forum to where we're being judged. Nobody's talking about that.
Well, you are, and I think it's amazing, Jason. I tell you all the time, The education that you give to people is phenomenal, and it's extremely important. Keeping their attention to give it to them is the hard part,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So,
Well,
it's very hard.
it's kind of hard to stay focused in a broad sharing that everybody get without putting in a personal of what my experience has been, and then the inherent tinge of anxiety that's ever present as a result. You know how frustrating it is for me, Cal, to actually see everybody, and not to take any oxygen from somebody's fire, but to watch an individual that claims they're a veteran, that has an intention of being a political person, that doesn't speak to the flag either in their matter, and they were arrested while fleeing the war monument.
I know.
While fleeing, I was driving into it. I was driving into it, and I knew I was going to be driving into it when I drove into it, and I said, "Fuck it, we didn't come here for nothing. We didn't get dressed up for nothing. Let's fucking go." So I don't really get how we're prioritizing our how we distribute our credibility right now.
But honey, there's a big difference, right? You are a soldier. Like, you're a soldier. But like to the true definition, no, but you truly are. You have a serious love in you for this country, for our people, for all people. And I witnessed it firsthand. And I was lucky enough to be that close to you, right? So where other people, like, you got to remember, in society, everybody is subject to their own bubbles or their own block on the pyramid, right? And the pyramid is so designed so that everyone's got their tasks and their duties and their authorities, except no block knows the full extent of those tasks, duties, and authorities of the block next to them. And when shit hits the fan, they're all going in this big circle within that pyramid, blaming each other, when the truth is it's the full block on the top.
What I hear you're saying is that everybody's fighting to climb on top of a turd in the vortex of title.
Yeah.
And like, again, this is all civil process thinking. And unless there's a carrot on the stick, nobody wants to run. I reinforce the fact that I haven't asked anybody for my defense, and I'm getting to the point where I'm just like, you know what? It's hard. It's hard. And even Kirk knows too. We were having a discussion earlier about what it takes for an individual to stand in the capacity that Tamara is bragging about. They are projecting to the average individual that when they come up to you, when you try to speak to your rights in a civil protest, they're going to take you. And unless you got $500,000, you got no hope. So this is the spell that they put on everybody.
I might be the exception, darling.
Okay, but again, no, it's just a matter of if that, how many people does that intimidate and silence as a result, and create a tacit consent? Because right now, that former regimental sergeant major sat in a courtroom, talked about the broad authority of common law, quote unquote. So he acknowledges that there's a common law and it's supreme in his life that he did, and then says nothing about attempting to access it, where all of our rights are. You don't have to jab. You don't have to do any of these crazy things. It's a matter to matter where the word freedom is found.
These are all trespasses. You can do whatever you want as long as you don't trespass on anybody, right? So it's pretty simple stuff, really. That's why the old saying goes, do what thou wilt.
I've been saying that forever. When I learned about like informed consent out of World War II and how it's the development or the evolution of trespassing laws, that's what it all comes down to. It all comes down to that.
Well, in contract, what everybody misses is that everything is a contract. If I wake up in the morning and I'm sleeping over and I'm going to make you a coffee, that's a contract. The terms of the contract is how you take the coffee, right? So
This guy says informed knowledge. Informed knowledge is better than informed consent. Or knowledgeable. Informed versus knowledgeable. Informed consent versus knowledgeable consent. Knowledgeable is you have an awareness of something that's greater than you and you are able to access and speak to it. Informed means you've been taken into a formation and consumed as part of a collective body.
Researched, you've done the work. You've bit the head off. So,
but catch those here.
The only thing
like when a judge is speaking, in court, sorry, Kelly, we're on a bit of a lag, so I'm cutting you off. I just want to say before you do, because I know you're going to touch on this. When a judge speaks and individuals before them in the court, they will tag so many titles and elements to a limited capacity upon you that if you don't stop them on the very first one, they're going to keep doing it over and over and over again, hammer how fucking much you take it and consent.
So, that's if you're after a specific thing like you were. For me, I was after something a little bit different. So for the first, like I remember I was in the Toronto court for 2 years, right? So Ed was scared shitless. Ask him, he'll tell you. Because he's like, why are you climbing up? I was just, because I needed to observe my surroundings so I could figure out what I'm dealing with here and where everybody's character was and how much of the law, you know what I mean? What side of the law they laid on, if they cared, if they're mechanical, like human behavior is everything. So for the first 2 months in and out of court, I was pretty quiet and played the meek. And then
I got a video. It's about 4 minutes for Selgovae. It's geared right up towards you. It's an American spin on what you're going through, buddy. I'm sure you have lots of comment and appreciate. And then after that, Kelly, you're going to tell us what's going on in Ontario this weekend. Okay, but first,
and here's what I'm trying to figure out. I just want to know who really runs the energy department. Is it you? Or is it the mega corporations whose stock that you own that you're making profits in?
Oh, my goodness.
Or maybe it's the foreign billionaires who fund your conferences. Let's try something else. Do you know the names of the foreign billionaires who fund the conferences you go to? When you were here last, I talked with you about the fact that more than 130 officials in the energy department reported more than 2,700 trades of shares, bonds, and options in companies that ethics officers said was directly related to the agency's work. This is institutionalized corruption. And I asked you point blank, do you own any individual stock? And you told me, no. Let's just look at it. It was not a difficult question. Do you own individual stocks, Madam Secretary? You said no. In fact, you repeated it 3 times to me. No, no, no. Turns out that was false. You did own multiple individual stocks. And you neglected to report it to this committee for months afterwards. Why did you mislead this committee?
Oh, my goodness.
That was exactly my response. So why did
Senator,
you mislead this committee?
I believed that I had sold all individual stocks, and I was incorrect. So I came back.
You just don't know your portfolio?
Pretty much.
It's a big one, I guess, huh?
No, it's extremely small.
Apparently not. Someone manages it for you?
Okay,
so I came back as soon as I found out that, in fact, I had not sold all individuals.
Wait. No, that's not true either. Let's just look at the timeline. Let's not. I just remind you, you're in trouble. Madam Secretary, you testified you didn't own any individual stocks. You didn't sell the stocks for a whole nother month. And after you sold the stocks, you waited another month before you informed this committee. Why did you mislead us, and what were you hiding? Why did you wait so long? Why did you hide this? You're here before this committee a year later after actively misleading us, after denying and delaying, and now you won't tell us. Was one of them Proterra?
No.
You sat on the board of directors.
Anyways, that's a judge. Her and all her colleagues were on the take. Investors in energy companies.
I am so sick and tired of the criminals in our house.
No kidding, right? But hey, Selgovae, like, check out if they're shareholders too. Like, see how many people are involved in this.
It's evident, and the average individual in my community where I live believe it's present and know it's present. Okay, a lot of them won't speak out loud because they fear, because they're in golden handcuffs. A lot of them. So in that, the root bias to which makes all of that a fucking problem in my situation and that situation is a maximum law called Nemo Judex and Casa Sua. And in that,
you got to do it in kindergarten terms for everybody, okay?
Well, that's just your bias rule. It's that's what you look up for, the bias rule. So if you have any share in a situation by way of currency and ownership, then you can't be judging the matter because you're infected with a bias. Or it may not even be something that you exercise as present. The fact that the very essence and perception can be considered present by a reasonable objective majority makes it so.
And you know, the majority of the people have no idea what you just said. I love you so much. I think you're the most.
I know exactly what he said.
I know you do, but
again, it goes to a root again when their civil processes were put upon our people. And and when we went from Brehon law and transitioned to civil law and how the interpretations of all that took place. And St. Columbo, who actually did the mop-up job for Patrick on our culture, he was put down and shut down by an Irish king who set the first, still standing to this day, copyright law. To every cow its calf, to every book its copy. Which means that you actually do own your registered entity if you can speak to it, but you're in a matrix with a J, jurisdiction.
Yep, and if you don't know how to maintain jurisdiction over yourself, then someone will take it over you.
Like a fucking vulture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
East of the field and bird of the air, man.
Yeah,
How you feeling there, Kirk? Quiet.
Oh, that's my scapegoat.
Good.
That's the route to scapegoat, the sacrifice and atonement ritual. Recognize the supremacy of God and rule of law. You got two souls on your feet. One of them were stamped were bled when you were born and stamped, and that was a registration that was made on your entity, your alien.
What it comes down to is, what is a registration? What is application, registration, and submission? Go ahead.
Register. So it's the gist is the husk of the grain of the wheat. It's all ties back to a biblical root. And so the gist was burnt in the furnace to create the heat, to forge the iron and work the tools.
Yeah, everything. It's like we are repeating history, except with more modern technology as we go along. But the truth is this: we are responsible for the repetition. The people are.
Well, if we choose to be responsible.
The drift from the beginning.
Oh, we're totally responsible. I mean, if you look around,
you can get stuck in La La Land. You get stuck in your illusion in the matrix.
If the majority thinks that your truth is absolutely crazy, that's what you'll be. If you think,
okay.
if you believe it.
I don't care what somebody thinks. I care about what the facts are. The facts are this, okay? People are extremists. They're all extremists. And the more that you continue to try to fight extremism with more extremism, is the more you're going to continue to run that rat wheel and repeat history over and over and be responsible for it. That's the truth.
There's nothing wrong with being extreme. You're within a limit. The word extreme is without definition unless you're inside a limit.
Well, no, that's not necessarily true, Jason. It depends on the circumstances. Everything is circumstantial.
As opposed to trans, outside of, across of, and beyond?
Oh, well, that depends on your perception. I think trans is ridiculous, not extreme. I think it's just ridiculous. And
it has a dictional rule applied to it in the juris. All right, it has a juris applied to the dictional application. And
it's also repeated at the fall of every single so-called civilization that has ever existed. It's the same thing over and over. Trans.
Keyword, civilization, a collection of order and unity.
All of the same bullshit. Again, you want to know what's going to happen? Merely pick up a history book.
Yeah. When was the first civilization, Kelly?
The first civilization. Well, it depends on the context of civilization.
No, it's not. There's one beginning of civilization.
Oh, okay. Well, we can go
back
to 65,000 years ago, or we can use the one that's taught to you. Which one would you prefer?
Sumer.
I'm going to say the one that we have the written record built off of.
Sumer only goes back up to 12,000.
Akkad.
Say that again, Jay.
Akkad.
Oh.
Okay, Akkad. That's about 14,000 years. Keep going.
Sargon. From Sargon. Sargon is credited in our consciousness that we have right now. Sargon is credited as the creator of all. Order and unity, the world.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's based on a legend. The first story written in a recorded text is from Akkad. It's the source from Akkad. The star that fell. The star that fell that was kicked out of Akkad. Firstborn, loved beyond all others, who couldn't create, wouldn't create, was cast out and sent to Ur. It created the poems and the songs and the Epic of Gilgamesh. Wrote stories about their father, a cupbearer found in a reed basket between two fucking rivers.
And Lil and Key, etc., and the rogue planet with all the runaway races and all that happy stuff.
So then, if we can agree that happens, then if a juris is to be applied, a control is to be applied to a written diction, then the root, source, seed, and origin of that diction has essence to control of it.
Okay, so
You
what
can't
Jason is
graft
trying
off
to say
it without
is,
acknowledging from what you graft onto.
Essentially, everybody out there, what Jay is saying is that yes, you live in a simulation, but it's much more practical than you think. It's not so.
Yes, way practical. Like, and once we acknowledge how practical it is, then the theater and the elements of the nothing in representation is truth in itself. It is as close to it as somebody wants it to be or not, and a will defines that.
You can only any individual can only truly tell the truth as they see it, and that's the big difference. So to swear
Not
upon any
always.
book, will tell the whole
That's where
truth.
I say. That's where I say it's not necessarily as they see it. It could be. It could be an intention. Whereas, for example, the difference between an intentional lie and an unintentional one would be you are leading in good faith, and then something reveals itself to you that says you're taking people in the wrong direction, and then you immediately inform them and disclose. You've done your Ezekiel 33:6.
Instead of trying to pick it apart and learn it at the root like you did, I chose to just stand on my rights, and it's a very simple thing. I have a constitutional right that says you can't fuck, so fuck off. That's pretty much what I said.
But that's at a discretion. That constitutional recognition, because the flag is the president of the court, is at the discretion of the judge.
Yeah, but there was an advantage, and to your benefit for this conversation, absolutely, I was in an equity court. So an equity court is required to have the proper flags in the proper places.
Our next story is about a Montreal man who relaxes by singing along with the radio in his car. But his high notes hit a low note with police officers who handed him a ticket that threatens a heavy fine. Now, as CTV's Rob Lurie reports, this motorist's love of dance music could end up in court.
Taoufik Moala still can't decide whether he should laugh or cry. He'd finished work early, dropped off his kids, and was heading to the store with his favorite song on the radio.
Isn't it a good song?
He was listening to CNC Music Factory's dance anthem, Gonna Make You Sweat. But it wasn't music to the ears of 4 police officers who pulled him over.
And then they asked me if I screamed. I said, no, I was just singing. He said, okay, I need your driving license.
5 minutes later, the officer handed him this $149 ticket for screaming in a public space. Were you screaming in your car?
I was singing.
You were singing?
Yeah, I was singing. Everybody dance now.
A spokesman for the Montreal Police Force said at this point he doesn't have enough information to comment on the case. But he also added officers are generally not in the habit of giving out tickets for nothing. There have been recent cases in Canada where police have been accused of being overzealous. Last month, an Edmonton area man was given a ticket for driving 1 kilometer over the speed limit. And in January, this Alberta man was given a $465 ticket for driving with a crack in his driver's license.
That's bad. Everybody dance now.
Moala insists he wasn't being obnoxious and didn't mouth off to police. He was just enjoying the day, and he says everyone at some point sings in their car. Even Montreal's mayor, Denis Coderre, admits he does.
What song? We Are the Champion.
But Moala doesn't think it's funny that he may have to pay $150, so he's planning to fight the ticket and hoping he gets a judge who likes.
I didn't pay attention to any of that. I'm still thinking about equity court.
Okay, so 1 second. So you guys, what needs to happen here is very simple. Every single piece of legislation that violates the Constitution of 1867, the statutes, the regulations, and the codes that come underneath it is of no force or effect. But it has to be contested. And as long as it's contested, it's accepted.
Without a consent.
That's right, without consent, but it's a consent unless you.
Where does the consent take place? At the first agent that communicates with you?
Well, no,
I agree with you
100%. But the way that our society is built, and this is why you and I fight in court the way we do, is because we comprehend these things. Regular people don't know this. They have no idea about it. They have no concept of the law. They have no. They don't even know how to define simple definitions in the common use of the English language, let alone the use of the language for the purpose of the construction of law.
Well, I don't complain. I don't claim to be of that level either. I claim to make a mustering that is visible through the fog. That's enough.
You are a wordsmith and a brilliant one, you know. But the average person can't even spell definitely right. Like, you know, like, it's the truth, and it's I'm not shitting on people by saying that. It's not even their fault. It's the way that it's all designed on purpose. Like, there are two uses for every single language on earth. One that's used in the construction of law and one that's used in the Common Core and taught to the public. That's why you have Webster's dictionary, and then you have legal dictionaries and law dictionaries, right? And medical dictionaries. And there's a language for everything. And they do this on purpose in order to cause confusion.
I got a judge on the second to last day of my trial and on the third day of my trial to acknowledge the diction from which he was interpreting, because I was saying, listen, I don't understand your rule of civil proceedings. I'm here under force, and you've given me no options in this summary matter to speak in any other capacity but within your hockey rink and your game. So let's play ball. All right. So at the end of the day, then, what are you using to apply this juris to? And he was hesitant to answer me. And I said, so what? No, let me hear the answers that he gives me and what went down. Because I said, where are you going for a source to interpret the words that I apply? And he said, Merriam-Webster. And I was like, good enough. And then I said, second day last of trial, I said, don't you forget part 6 of that interpretation. You're to look nowhere else. My will is directing you to part 6 of that interpretation. It's the only location where it speaks to your man as an individual. Because if you accept them saying that in every other interpretation, it's in the collective. And that's how it's interpreted, that you're in a collective. You want to be in a collective. You want to be part of a body. If you want to, you have to be like laser precision with them, because you're mustering all the physical resistance. You just scratch their chin.
It's very simple to do that, though, Jason. Okay, so, and this is what you need to understand. The manipulation itself is the creation of interpretation. That's the original. That's the original sin. It was, and I can actually, I have the document.
My understanding is like, if I come up to you and you're in medical duress and you're convulsing on the ground, an implied consent is present because 100% of the people will agree that you want to live and you have no capacity which to do that. But the second that you come out of that fucking fog and you start to push me away, I have to presume you are back in the capacity of choice. It is when you're working whether you're working as a medical responder, a firefighter, a cop, a fucking nurse, all people know this.
But circumstances, everything is circumstantial. Absolutely everything. Right. So, and this is why a law not defined is not a law at all. A principle not defined.
So a discretion, so you agree a discretion on the agent applies. So when communicating with the first agent that comes to you, police officer, and they come and start speaking to you, and you recognize that they're trying to capture you in title, and you just say, hey, listen, am I under arrest? No. Then I got nothing more to say to you. Have a good day, and they walk away. But they don't. They pursue, and they start saying, well, what do you mean? You got something to hide?
Oh,
hey, get off the road here. Just follow me over here off the road. Take my direction and consent to that, so now I can take a fucking.
Take direction. No, I wouldn't take direction. Anytime an officer has ever said, "Why don't you come over here? Why don't you come over here?" I will walk in a different way and make them follow me.
This is where the spider web happens, because the second that individual makes decisions under a direction, they're applying consent to that authority. It's perceived that way, and then that authority takes them.
Again,
and they'll ask for forgiveness later.
Listen, unless he's a special constable, he most likely has no idea what he's doing. He's just there to serve papers because that's his orders, and that's the truth, right? So, but a special constable, that's a whole different realm, and that's why special constables show up. You know,
we'll deal with something like the Wellington Street Crew would interact with on a regular. Okay, a bylaw officer or a police officer, that type of situation. That's people in the movement that we're speaking to, the vast majority. That's the group that I want to understand this.
Don't you remember?
Let's move on. Let's move on. New topic. We're milking this one dry. Kelly, what's your plans this weekend in Ottawa?
I've been asked to speak at a peace rally. That's all.
And what is this peace rally? Like, who's putting it on, and what's it about?
Well, there's a bunch of people involved. From all kinds of different groups. It's an attempt to bring forth peace amongst all these divided groups and end the stupidity and try and get everybody to focus all of their different actions in the same direction. That's all. It's nothing big. Well, we're hoping it's going to be a good turnout, you know, because there are some things that need to be addressed. So, but I've been specifically asked to stay off the politics and just talk about peace.
Nicholas fucking Ivanchik called me and asked me if I'm going.
Are you coming?
Did you ask him to phone me?
No, I don't ask people to phone anybody. I'll call them up and ask them stuff. Like I told Jay, I was like, bring
it was you.
Hey, Nicholas has done me a lot of favors trying to get my story out there, so I can't say nothing bad.
Yeah.
Never met him.
You didn't tell him about me, did you?
I didn't tell him.
Nicholas. I had to block him on the Instagram.
Just out of curiosity, has anybody been looking at those videos I've sent them the last week? You know, about
your audio is terrible. Do you play with the microphone?
I know, so is Kelly's. I can hardly hear. That's why I'm leaning up with my ear.
No. I mean, in the video that you sent me this week, the recording, like it's crackly. Like you can't make it out.
Here it's crystal clear. Just so you know, but I live in a ship, right? So,
okay.
But either way, you know, I know, Selgovae has his own story. Kellyanne has their own story. I have my own story. There's a lot of people with their own stories. Where most of us are facing the same way of trying to help Canada, and each of us thinks our story is going to save the world, which I honestly think mine would, and everyone has their part of it. But it's just a matter of getting it out there to the people, and that's the biggest problem. Like, we're not mainstream media. All of the people with any pull won't talk to any one of us, I'm sure, for the same reasons. And so that's all I can, keep listening to everybody, and just try to understand that there's a lot more going on. Yeah. Sorry, Kelly.
Sorry, sweetheart, I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't depend on other people to get my voice out. I never have, and I never will. I'm a bit of a cunt that way, right? So Jay knows, like, if I'm done, then I'm going, and I'll knock on every damn door on the way. Like, that's just the way. And he's like that too, and I love that. And there are key people like that across the country. You have to be, right? I mean, look, like, I knew that we could put anybody on CPAC the entire time. But what was I going to do? Like, we didn't, like, it was turning, like, we had a circus that started happening, and all this crazy, like, it was like orangutans in the streets. Like, what started off completely noble and extremely powerful turned up like it's a freaking shit show, guys, across the country.
Oh, yeah. And Kirk, one thing about your story that I find that people can't really see that I see. And I think guys in the military can see too, and a lot of them maybe just don't say it out loud for a lot of reasons. But it's evident you're a man with a good heart, and you have a good moral position about you, and you landed in something that was legacy bad. The way, like, you landed into something and just kind of said, and they were like, we've been keeping secret about that for 100 fucking years. Where'd he come from? And at this time, and bless you.
I think what really helped you, Kirk, is like, you got to get your message short and concise. We've been fed, electronic propaganda for so long that people have very short attention spans. You got to get your message concise, clear, and straight, and it's hard to do that because you got so much of it and you're living it, and you're emotionally, you're dealing with it, and it's hard, I know, but you just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. But to say, like, to be honest with you, brother, like, to say that, like, your story is going to save the world, it's a common story. Like you said yourself, a lot of people have reached out to you and said they have the exact same stories happening to them. A lot of people know that the corruption is rampant. The next step is, what do we do about it? Because just exposing it's been done. It's been exposed a million times. It's been exposed. What are we going to do about it? That's the problem. What's the next step? Because the courts are corrupt. You can't rely on the government. You can't rely on the government to govern itself. That's what's happening. They commit crimes, and then we as taxpayers pay for it. They don't get in trouble. We get fucked constantly. The system is
Listen,
fucked.
your constitutional rights get violated, guys. You're paying yourself for that, you know, and they're getting nothing. Nothing. You pay restitution to yourself for a supreme crime committed against you anytime your constitutional rights are violated. And I had it put on the record in court by a judge of inherent jurisdiction in a court of equity. You know, like, so it's on the record. Jay, we should get the transcripts because I know you'll eat them right apart. Yeah, and you'll love it. So,
I'm still going through my fucking 1,500-page trial of being treated like shit by a fucking judge. I had to see him today too, by the way.
You know what Jay did? Because he's such a, for you guys, you see him sit down. He's a big dude, right? So the cops like strip him down naked, and he freaking drags them. They're like hanging off his arms, and he just drags them right through freaking jail. Like, so funny. I'm sorry, I had to tell that story because it's funny.
Not many people seen that footage. I hope they were generous on the fucking censor bar.
No, Jay. We all saw it. No, just joking.
I kicked a judge in the face with flip-flops on that day. That's the only thing I had on were changed in flip-flops.
It's so funny. Yeah, like it's just enough is enough of this bullshit. Like, I'm so sick and tired. Like, I have Jay knows I have zero tolerance. Like, I will freak out like a psychopath with gossip and drama. I can't take it. Like, I don't have any tolerance for it. If anybody in this entire country has really seen me flip biscuits, it's Jake. Like, it's all he's seen the worst of it, right? Remember Ottawa? Remember the demons made me do it? Oh my god.
James Broder.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in an episode of Big Lebowski.
I will never forget the look on your face, Jimmy's face, Clark's face, Ryan's face, and I was.
Well, you can't argue with that. It's just a showstopper. The guy.
The setting was epic.
No, wait. I don't know how God brought me here to lead the country.
Air Canada flyers can now rebook flights for free ahead of a possible pilot's.
It was the most epic thing that ever happened. So what happened was, it was like the Bear Hug one thing. Bowder said that he, had the ability to raise the convoy. I was trying to get this convoy up and going for freaking a year and a half. I fought with Pat. He wouldn't get off his ass to do it. I had to make him hate my guts, and then everybody else piped up and they did what they did, and it was beautiful, right? But there was a first attempt, and during that first attempt, I think Matt Unseated said it best when he drew that PSYOP web, because at least he recognized how fucking hard my ass has worked in the last 4 years by putting me right in the center. I am connected to the majority of people in the country. Some people call me the Rolodex. Ask Marcella and James out in BC. I am like the country's Rolodex. So I don't need to participate in any other groups, but if I can help anybody who's going to help the collective of us all towards the goal of us all, then of course I'm going to. And I don't need to like them.
Million Man March for Children. Are you in on that?
The Million Man March for Kids. So I did partner up with Hands Off Our Kids. I have recently separated from Camille, but there are many different organizations that participate in the Million Man March. And Kareem Tedros, who spoke with me at CPAC last week, he's become one of my best friends. And the guy he's 100% sincere, and fueled by the love he's got for his daughter, works his ass off. And I'm definitely part of that, and I'm definitely going to be a part of the Million Man March with him, for sure.
You got lots of naysayers, Kellyanne. You have to admit, and actually, the one
every single one of them will listen to me when I talk, darling. So I know. They say I don't care. Yeah.
I have you on the show so you can talk for yourself. The one concern that I have about a lot of this, and I have to agree, and I have a hard time, and it's like, I don't know if everybody completely even understands the issue, but digital ID, digital voting, right? Digital currencies. That's a WEF program, and so I know you're.
You got two options. The future is digital. Whether you like it or not, you can agree with that. Sure?
No, okay. No, I'm not.
Well, it is. If you go to try and hide in the bush, you're going to be killed just as quick as the Nazis killed their.
No, but I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know the future is digital. The future might be sticks and fucking stones.
Oh yeah, Cascadia could happen. Sure, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is we are already in a digital age. So
That's like somebody who's selling me a car and saying I already own the car. You know,
okay,
you sound like a car salesman, Kelly. Come on.
Did you want me to answer the question? If you want me to answer the question, you got to let me answer the question.
No,
so
you're selling me on digital ID. Like,
I don't need to sell you anything. If you want to go ask Nanny for a cookie, by all means, go ask Nanny for a cookie. I prefer not to. So to each their own. I don't need to sell you shit. I'm not selling nobody nothing.
Yeah, you do, because I ain't buying that bullshit at all.
So no, you have two options. You can either be a slave or you can take control of it. So which one do you prefer?
Digital ID sounds like slavery.
Fuck
digital ID.
What digital ID?
So you're suggesting that digital is actually a certainty in the future?
What I'm telling you is that your privacy is 100% protected, and that's the point of a wallet number. It has nothing to do with money. The voting model has nothing to do with money, nothing to do with finance. It is 100% about taking our authority and putting it in our own hands. With referendums and taking it out of the hands of these corporate entities and these fucking politicians. That's it.
From what I understand about the digital world, it's whoever has, there's like Pegasus, which allows access to everybody's phone. It's just if you have the money to evade the legal system and the know-how, you do what you want. And that's how organized crime is run. And right now, like, you can hire a hacker to change your court documents and the courts won't even admit that this is happening because you have to be in that upper echelons. Like,
of course,
it don't matter what your program is doing. If they can hack your phone and steal your identification and act like you,
so the NSA,
that's not secure. That's not the right direction. That's not what a native, what I believe someone who's connected to the land would want to build this technocracy to control people. That makes no sense.
So the NSA, Mossad, and even Five Eyes cannot hack our servers. They've been trying for 12 to 15 years. So
what proof do you have of that? Other than
servers and the software.
Can you show any kind of evidence of that, or I'm just supposed to take you at your word?
I can directly with the entire tech team.
You can show evidence that Mossad tried to hack your servers and they didn't.
Absolutely, they were openly and publicly challenged.
So go ahead.
Two questions. So there's no more rolling outages in any nation in the country. That's one question. And then the other question is, Troy felt their walls would never fall. Well, it's a statement more than a question. Well, you talk about it's how they've been trying for 12, 15 years and they haven't gotten in yet. It doesn't mean that, yet is a key word.
Well, I suggest about blockchain, right? So everything is traceable in a blockchain. Now I can bring Richie onto the show because I'm not very good with tech. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend, I can get into the technical side of things properly. I would rather bring in the team and you can grill the shit out of them. And they'd be happy to do it publicly.
I'm not a person that could grill it because I primitivism as much as I can.
They have a course they built as well, and they made it as simple as possible to walk every single individual out there through every single step, so you know exactly how everything works. This is the best part about this system: is it's 100% transparent, 100% decentralized. So everything is in the public eye. Everything. And if somebody tries to infest or corrupt it, they're immediately traceable and can be and cut off. So
why can't we just go back to gold?
I can't explain it technologically, but they can. So,
but why can't we just go back to gold?
What's that?
Why can't we go back to gold? Are all the corporations shitting their pants because if we gold, we're going to be using copper loonies?
See, why are you bringing up gold? This has nothing. We're talking about a voting model.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were talking about currency.
No, we're not talking about currency. That's not
digital currency, digital wallet, all of that.
Digital ID, digital voting.
I have nothing to do with currency.
I know nothing.
What about the hardcore Christians that aren't going to go for the number of the beast? Like that is so much sounds like number of the beast. Everyone gets a number, might as well tattoo it on you. Votes, buys your groceries.
We're not tattooing nothing. You sign up.
Well, you would need to because your heart has its own frequency, and everybody has their own identification anyways. They're already admitting
it. Nobody's microchipping you.
You don't need the microchip because everybody's heart gives a certain frequency that's different. You can identify.
If there is no money involved, what the fuck do I need to know who you are for? There's no money involved. Zero.
It's part of an algorithmic graphic of a mass, though, right? So you can determine.
I don't even know what that means. You're speaking a language I don't comprehend.
Not really.
So,
If you know that 60,000 of it, 100,000 people like aspirin.
On the tech, I am not qualified to answer those questions. So I can bring in the tech team and you can grill them. Is that fair?
Quick question.
Yep,
Quick question. So I was watching Trudeau there. He was giving one of his bullshit speeches, and they all went on their phones and they all voted. I remember. I think I forwarded that to you. That's the same thing you're talking about, pretty much.
No, that was him getting scared. I remember that happened when I came out.
Digital voting, yeah.
Well, they were voting on the questions in the House. Yeah.
We introduced the concept when I went out to Vancouver for the last Stand United rally. So we introduced the concept in very simple terms because we were just introducing, right? And then Kirk, it was you that sent me that video, wasn't it? And they were holding up the phone because they were so freaking scared because we started grabbing traction right away, right? And people are like, what? We can take our authority? Yeah, you'll be able to vote on every single policy. The government will not be able to do anything without the majority consent of the people. If we fuck up as we go along, referendums and recalls that don't cost millions of dollars. It's pretty.
What happens when there's like a war, a world war, EMP, take out an infrastructure, and we have no small teams and team leaders to move forward our infrastructure?
Why wouldn't we
we're going to be reliant on a digital system.
This method, it comes back with paper receipts. You can print your receipts, and your MPs and your MPPs would be required by law to be record keepers. We would reduce government down to nothing more than a representative body that is supposed to manage the interests and affairs of the people, as it should be. And they can keep records, and you will also be able to have the ability to print any record of any single thing you've ever done and walk into that MP's office and compare it. And if they're not keeping the records, get the fuck out, go to jail.
I'll ask the question. I'll ask the question is, who's in charge of the gatekeepers on this? Like,
it's a blockchain. So a blockchain.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, I know enough about computers. Is that what it basically is to get us to trust them? But they've never proven that they're trustworthy. There's always been backdoors. No, there's a computer program's only as smart as the person that's wrote it. Even open source, they can be manipulated.
You don't know what you don't know, and it doesn't matter how smart you are.
Okay? It takes money and power, and who has abundance of that? Not the regular common people.
I'm still frozen. I'm the first person in the country frozen, and I lost a multi-million-dollar home to save your fucking asses. So, no offense, I haven't made a fucking
back up. You're frozen. What was frozen?
All my accounts are frozen. They're still frozen.
Yeah. What? Mine were frozen since 2015. So.
Yeah. Well, I know. We had this conversation. So, but listen. I understand what Kirk was asking. So we want our doctors to be the ones that propose policies for everybody to vote on, not some fucking corporate suit in some foreign fucking country that's going to make a buck off murdering us. We want our own law enforcement to come up with the policies that we're going to vote on for that institution. We want our parents to have the final fucking say on what our kids are learning in school. And if it's not going to increase their SAT scores, then fuck off. It's pretty simple shit. Now, how that all is going to be constructed into legislation, that's why I keep telling everybody, we need all of you. So I love the criticism. I love your questions, Owen. And I wish I could answer those things.
No, you're answering what a lot of people, like, you've been on point. I have to give you credit for that, because you've always been on point. You've been listening to what people have been asking for, the ideas, and trying to bring everyone together. That's what you are doing. And I have to give you credit for that. Like I said,
and
digital ID is going to be a very hard fucking sell, because it was a part of Agenda 2030. It's a part of the elite's agenda to control us. Period. It's been out there.
I'm gonna give a plug right now. Okay, and this website is actually 15 years old. If you people really want to know what we're actually fucking fighting out there, go to the website 2045.com. Every single scientist that you find through that fucking website is now sitting on the WEF. If we implement this method and take control over our digital future, we will put the country into a state of consistent and permanent constitutional conventions where the authority lies in the hands of us, the people, period. Yeah, that's what I'm at.
I'm not arguing with your system. It just, we're worried about the security of it. Like it sounds wonderful.
Then you
It's
should
just
jump in.
I know you say blockchain over and over, but
why are we considering such a thing? Why are we considering such a thing in the presence of everything that we've just been through that hasn't been unfucked?
Because if we don't do something, we are going to be subjected. Because the vast majority of people, come on, honey, there's still people driving around in cars with fucking masks on by themselves. Like think. Okay, everything stems from psychology. Everything.
I think to answer your question, Kurt, about who's going to watch the watchers, right? Like who's going to watch the watchers is a big question at the end of the day. Right? But this is what I think is we need to empower people by making them police. Like instead of having a small group of elite corrupt police that ends up happening, we make the rules easy enough for everybody to understand, and then everybody has the same rights as police. Okay, you make everybody able to arrest and take them before a judge if need. So community policing, right? And no more special police.
Get to somewhere like that, but the truth is, right now we have to have a transitionary period. There are still people driving around alone with masks on. Okay, and a lot of them. So you have to. I think it's going to be step by step. So this is just the first step. Once the authority is 100% in the hands of the people, by all means, I'm fucking out. See you later. I'm gonna ghost. I'm gonna write under a pseudonym and just go and fucking enjoy my life. Straight up.
I thought you were going to Nashville.
I don't even want to front a band anymore, man. I fucking had too much attention. I'm good. I just want to go to.
So what kind of tech is being transferred over from Tide and that Solar Winds and all of that? Is this all the same kind of?
Well, I just want to take my kids and travel and show them the beauties that do exist around this world, right? Like when we're done here. But I'm not doing anything until we've got the authority in the hands of the people. That's it. That's all I'm after. I don't give a shit.
Question. I think I saw one of your posts that this was tried in a different country or another country previously.
No, well, I tested my theory. So there's two parts to my strategy, right? And the first part is we want to elect independents and get them in there on whether it's a board, whether it's a school board, whether it's freaking municipal, provincial, every single level of government. So because like there's a plethora of people out there, if you're too scared and you don't think you're ready for that responsibility, run for a city councilor, run for your school board, be a trustee. You know what I mean? Run for fix the housing situations, get into advocacy groups. It's time for people to stop being lazy. You got to get up and do the work. That's what we need. If you can't, even if you're not mobile, then you can sit at home. You got a computer. You talk to people. Then you can participate in the marketing. You can participate in making videos and doing explanations. Pick a topic, and we'll help you organize.
We are thechange.com.
Enough. We are thechange.com. Yeah, go ahead, pull it up, hon. Yep.
No, I can't pull it up. I just wanted to let you pitch it and. EvolveBlockchain.io. For all the techies out there, you can contact Richie directly through that website. So EvolveBlockchain.io and both sides of the coin are there. They're like the voting. I was more open to it before the whole FCT token, fucking trying to steal Pat's computer, like the chaos happened. I was more open towards that stuff, but I have a locked fucking like blockchain wallet, you know what I mean, from the government. Like I don't trust any of this stuff. I got friends that know better than me, and he says don't fucking anything electronic is their design.
There's more to it than that, but I'm not allowed to release some information publicly yet.
I do appreciate you coming though tonight, Kellyanne, and you come back and
you've got experience. You need to when you see what we've actually got, because I fucking suck at tech. Like I can't explain it for the life of me. My brain will not allow me to wrap around it. So I am a humanity and social kind of girl, right? Like. So,
well, you're brave to jump in here with us and let us fucking pick you apart and give you that.
Oh, I love it. Listen, man. If you can't hold your questions, like what the fuck are you doing? Like,
there's a few things I want to say before we end it, if you don't mind. I know One Feather does the native band elections. Everybody questions that. Like it's computerized. It's supposed to be untouchable. I know for a fact the Chief of Larange was getting her ass handed to her, and then they allowed these electronic votings, and she won by a landslide.
It's like trusting the Wizard of Oz, and you know he's behind the curtain hitting buttons.
Well, no,
and you're like, just trust him.
though.
Yeah, it's fine.
No,
I don't know how it works, but
because everything publicly displayed with this model, everything. So you can see everything all the time. You just can't see anybody's personal information. That's all.
Yeah, no, it sounds wonderful, but yeah.
You would explain it way better if you like. So you have that meeting, honestly, Owen. You should have that meeting because we could utilize you explaining it to people once you realize what the heck it is. Because I suck at that part of it.
I'd be interested in being in a meeting like that and bringing somebody that would have more to say than me. But we're gonna wrap it up today, and we're gonna shoot for what is it, Saturday? I think I'm gonna try for Saturday night because actually, you know what? I think I could have done Saturday night. We're gonna stay on schedule, God willing. It'll make a way for me. So thanks for coming again, guys. Kirk.
Right on.
Selgovae.
Peace.
The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion.